Hello, one and all! It's my viewer Dr. Stone, chapter 184, Fort Medusa. And are you freaking kidding me? They built an entire freaking giant fort over the course of 2 pages. I would have loved to see them, actually designing, constructing, and building this fort. And apparently it happened so quickly that Jen couldn't even ask why they were building it. Yeah, that's something. I mean, I kind of get why they did this. There's not a whole lot about fort building that's all that scientific. Well, mostly, that could, help them with future science projects down the road, but still, they're in South America, land of the Aztecs and the Mayans. They had some amazing stoneworking techniques and methods. I would have loved to see Senku just explaining that a little bit and showing how they're using the same methods they did in order to build this fort, but no, we got none of that, and that's very disappointing. Though we did get this absolutely amazing line from Kohaku. Humanity managed to survive off the resources of the earth and accumulate knowledge over a few 100,000 years. The way I see it, that's a lot more awe-inspiring. I mean, wow! Seriously, Kohaku, I mean, you have come so far from the girl you were in the first few dozen chapters. You didn't care all about science, who saw it as, useless boys playing with rocks and whatnot. And, just really showing why she's such a perfect, utter match for Senku right now. Even though she still can't spell science. Yes, apparently no one's bothered to teach Kohaku how to read or write. Seriously? I mean that, seriously? They've been on a very, very long trip with her. At no point do they think, it might be helpful if she learned how to read, that way we can give her messages, pass them back and forth, something like that. No, apparently not. But, she gave this great speech, and it touched Senku. Even Zeno looks touched, he has his little light back in his eyes for the first time in a while, and everyone else is charmed and happy. Though, of course, Taijo has completely ruined the mood by just being, a little bit too overly happy about it and a little too sappy about it. Just, come on, Taijo, I mean, really. Anyway, then Senku tells them Stanley's coming to their exact coordinates to come murder them all. Much to everyone's shock, and when he calls out Zeno for it, Jesus freaking Christ, this smug little smile he has, like a kid with his hand in the cookie jar, I freaking love it. Though, I am a little worried about one thing, Senku pointed out that Zeno messed with the radio signal, but he didn't realize that Zeno, blinked Morse code message to Stanley, so when Stanley eventually does come down the road, could there be a chance that Zeno, is still going to be gagged, but that he won't be blindfolded, and he can give another message to Stanley basically saying, hey, this is a trap, don't come any closer, or something like that? That is definitely worrying. Though I guess it's not too much of a trial, since Senku basically explains, he was going to have them attack him sooner or later anyway, so he'd get the Perseus back and go cross the Atlantic Ocean. Though that's certainly easier said than done, especially given that Tsukasa and Hyoga are in fact still injured. Yeah, this hasn't really been brought up since it happened, but they were freaking shot. I mean, I was noticing that Tsukasa's left arm always seemed to be hidden, never shown, and he was relying heavily on his right arm, but yeah, it looks like he's still in a lot of pain, there's still a lot of damage there, and thankfully they have Luna to help patch up their wounds like that. Yay, Luna! I knew you had some sort of purpose here. But also, really, these guys are freaking ripped. I mean, seriously. The muscles on these two are absolutely overwhelmingly terrifying. Anyway, so because of that, their fighting force is just Kohaku, Ukyo, and Max. Yes, apparently Max is considered part of the fighting force, I guess. I mean, he had a gun in that one panel, though I'm still very, very unclear about exactly who he is and what his role is in the series. I'm still waiting for that flashback. Anyway, then their plan is to just throw the Medusas at Stanley and the gang, but they realize, yeah, Stanley's never going to get close enough for them to actually, hit him with that before, they'd be shot by the sniper rifle, so that doesn't work. They set up these manual traps that basically go off whenever someone steps on a wire, but I mean, that's just a very bad plan in general. I mean, these are freaking trained soldiers. They're trained to look for wire traps, IEDs, stuff exactly like this. So no way that actually work on them. Plus, there's the issue they don't actually have all that many diamonds to work with. I mean, we see them go diamond mining, and that's, again, something I wish we could have seen more of. I mean, seriously, mining for diamonds, we could have gotten a whole, sluice box and stuff like that. That would have been so cool to say. Though the bigger issue is the fact that Kaseki can't actually take apart the Medusas without breaking them. Yeah, that's a problem. That's a big, big problem. I mean, they had to revive Joel, a freaking watchmaker, to do it in the first place, so yeah, Kaseki just isn't up to the snuff. He doesn't have, the skill or technique to do it. I mean, even as skilled as he is, he's never had to work with materials this small before, so yeah, it's definitely an issue. Definitely an issue for him. Though Kaseki's line here is definitely interesting. In the time we have before the enemy shows up, who knows if we can even make 1 or 2. That's definitely interesting. Now, obviously, he's not giving up. Obviously, he's saying, eventually, sooner or later, we're going to figure out how to do this. We're going to figure out how to take this apart, put in the new diamond, and make it all work perfectly. It even shows a perfect Medusa at the end of the chapter. But I think there's going to end up being a second Medusa. You know, the first one's going to fail or something's going to happen with that. And then Senku's going to end up pulling out the second one and using that to take out Stanley somehow, some way. I'll get into that more in a second. Also, I saw a lot of confusion about this next panel. You know, Ukyo sending up the Medusa into the air and then it goes off, but it doesn't actually. A lot of people are like, wait a minute, why did they just waste Medusa like that? That seems so pointless. They weren't. They basically say, this is when we would see the light, if only we had a brand new diamond battery. The light is just metaphorical. It's not actually there. It's just symbolic what it would look like if it was, you know, an actual real powered Medusa, stuff like that. Anyway, then Taiju comes up with the greatest plan I've ever seen in my entire life. He's just gonna run really, really fast at Stanley and his gang and try to petrify them. I just love absolutely shocked Stanley looks in this picture, even dropping his cigarette. Honestly, I think he might be so surprised at the stupidity of his plan, he might actually fall for it. He might not even realize, you know, how real a threat it is, how dangerous it is. I mean, Stanley would think, okay, there's no way Senku would actually sacrifice one of his people like this, so therefore, they want me to shoot him for some reason, so therefore I shouldn't shoot him? I mean, is this a bluff? What am I supposed to do here? I think there could be enough of a delay in Stanley trying to comprehend the stupidity of Taiju that he might actually, you know, fail to shoot him. Oh, I love that. I mean, Taiju's basically thinking, well, even if I get shot a whole bunch, you guys can just rive me with Medusa, but it doesn't actually work, you know, if you've been shot through the brain. So, yeah, very, very bad plan. But this does lead to Chrome having an absolutely brilliant idea. Basically, he's gonna petrify himself and all of them along with Stanley and his team, with one designated survivor waiting really far away so they can come back and unpetrify everyone. And the question does remain, though, who exactly is going to be the designated survivor? Now, in this shot, we see Suka, but I don't actually think it's going to be Suka, simply because I think Stanley is going to survive this somehow, some way. He'll either see the attack coming or realizes what they're most likely to do, and he'll be far away so that he doesn't actually get himself petrified. And so my basic idea on how it's going to work is that Senku will be the designated survivor. He'll be far away. After the petrification, he'll come back only to find Stanley waiting for him. And that'll lead to an ultimate final showdown, Senku versus Stanley. And Senku, I'm going to guess, is actually going to get shot again. You know, just winged a few times, at which point Stanley went close to him to finish him off. At which point Senku will reveal that he had a second Medusa that Katsuki managed to make right before the first one went off, and he'll use that to petrify himself and Stanley. At which point Suka will come back, reveal that she was the second designated survivor, unpetrify Senku, and then they will work to unpetrify everyone else and find a way to capture Stanley and his whole team that they're, you know, made of stone. Also, at some point, Jinro and Matsukaze will come in and help Senku out. I'm not exactly sure that's going to work, but I think that's what's going to happen. That's the best guess, at least. Anyway, then they build a giant tower, shaped like a rocket, because of course they do, with mics connecting them to the Medusa, so that at any point, anyone, anywhere in the fort can basically give the command, give the order to petrify everything around them, so they can free Stanley and his team. Yay! Though I really, really, really need to ask, where exactly is Zeno right now? I mean, please tell me he is bound and gagged somewhere very far away so he can't, you know, reach one of the mics and basically give the order to petrify everything around him. Because that would be bad. That'd be very, very bad. I mean, yes, Zeno is somewhat self-serving. He's been helping Senku a little bit, but I don't think that's the kind of opportunity that he'd miss, you know? Taking out Senku's team and basically being able to go back with Stanley and the rest of them. So yeah, this is going to be very, very interesting. Oh, also, I think the stealth tech they built is going to play a role somehow, like Senku or Suka is going to end up building a suit out of Medusa so that it can't be detected by the radar and they can, you know, walk through the woods without being seen. I think that'd be really cool. And, you know, make it so the stealth boat they built a few chapters back actually serves some sort of purpose. Oh, and also Jen said something very interesting in this chapter. From the perspective of our awe-inspiring planet, humanity is like a nasty little parasite. I definitely think that line was said on purpose with a lot of meaning. I have been saying for a very long time that the Y-Man, the petrification beam, all this basically served to save the Earth from global warming, greenhouse gases, pollution, all of that, and just give the Earth a chance to recover and grow and heal. So, I feel like that's definitely an intentional line, especially because it was said, basically, from the perspective of the moon, where the Y-Man is currently, you know, looking down on the Earth. Very, very curious about that. Anyway, yeah, those are my thoughts on this chapter. Like I said, a little bit disappointed. There's so much I would love to see here. You know, them building the fort, them mining for diamonds, stuff like that. But it was still a great chapter, and it still has me so pumped for next week. Like I said, my big guess is that Senku and Stanley are going to survive and have this big, ultimate final confrontation with one another, with Jinro and Matsukaze playing some sort of role, and Suka coming in and saving the day at the last minute. Yay! At least those are my guesses. What do you think's going to happen? Who's going to be the designated survivor? How exactly is this plan going to end up failing? And what's going to happen next? Let me know what you think all down below, and be sure to like and subscribe. See you in the next video, and until then, peace!